Welcome back, everybody, to Huobi Global Live. My name is Darko, your host this evening. Please smash that like button, get involved in the live chat box, and enjoy the show. Tonight, we have two very special guests. We have the CSO and the CSO, Michael and Sean from Unizen. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. How are we feeling this evening?
Excellent, mate.
Feeling great and honored to be here, Darko, and excited for the time ahead.
Awesome. Sounds like everybody is pumped. So tonight I will be asking you fine gentlemen a series of questions. But before we get into that, just some quick housekeeping. Everybody watching, there will be airdrops throughout this live stream. So please strap yourselves in, grab yourself some drink, grab yourself some snacks, put up your feet and enjoy the ride. Yeah. Now before we get into tonight's series of questions and interrogations, I would like to ask both you fine gentlemen a little bit about yourselves, a bit of background and how you first got into crypto and why. So without further ado, I'll start with you, Sean, and yeah, please feel free to enlighten us.
Yeah, sure. I'll keep it short and sweet.
Take your time.
I was lucky enough to, be introduced quite early into the scene and the various, experiences and just turn of events, started working for various advisories and various freelance capacities, and essentially ended up with JuneCap and then soon with Unizen into 2019, 2020.
Okay, cool. And how's the journey been ever since? Exciting? Roller coaster ride?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. I'm sure many people in this space can relate. And Michael and yourself, could you please tell us a bit about yourself, how you got into crypto and why?
Definitely. So been building technology companies the past 15 years. Got into crypto in 2010. I was building the Android app for WikiLeaks. And the government froze our bank accounts, Visa, MasterCard donation channels, PayPal. So we were forced to use Bitcoin. Got my first Bitcoin about 9 cents. And really excited and passionate about how this space can transform the access to value and money. The same way, if you look at the internet, when the internet started, people were really doubtful of the technology. They didn't really know much about it. And it's transformed access to information. Now if you want to learn about something, if you wanted to find out information about something, the internet provides that to, lots and lots of billions of people around the world. The mobile did the same for communication and having people keep in touch. It used to cost, say, $1 or €1 or a franc or £1 a minute to keep in touch. And now, with the smartphone, sharing and exchanging information is seamless and free. We see the same sort of shift with finance, money, and value. So now most of the world is kind of struggling, not sure how to get by on a day-to-day in debt. And we think that, this future of crypto, digital assets, and DeFi is going to completely revolutionize this. And we think we're well positioned to help play a big role in this shift.
Isn't it amazing how fast this space can move? There's periods where it feels like nothing happens forever, and then all of a sudden it's like before you even blink, so many things are happening all at once, and it's just a crazy industry to be in. Nevertheless, the best one, of course, to be in as well. So without further ado, let's jump into Unizen and find out what this is all about. So Sean, could you give us a brief overview, or maybe not so brief overview, of what exactly Unizen is?
Yeah, happy to. I guess our aim is to be a unified interface where we're basically enabling seamless access to Web3 trading innovations. So, the platform is incorporating tooling that basically reduces friction for interactions within a multi-chain universe. So our whole mission is really to just reduce that complexity and to increase accessibility at the same time in a secure Web3 environment, essentially. So we're reducing the threshold for new adopters, and we're helping experienced traders at the same time stay in tune with new innovations.
Okay, so you're trying to basically create a user-friendly experience, especially when it comes to onboarding an interoperable use case? Does that make any sense?
Yeah. I mean, everything from our custom built aggregators, to basically any other innovation could be basically tied in with the Unizen ecosystem. So yes, in that sense.
Okay. So as someone, let's say I was new to Unizen, what could I use it for? Let's dumb it down a little bit. So I'm a simple person with simple needs, but what could I use Unizen for?
Sure, I'll take that one. Or Michael, you want to run at the end? But yeah,
sorry, please go for it, Sean.
Oh yeah, so right now, essentially, you know, at the moment there is dynamic multi-asset staking. Working on the naming conventions there. We've got other interesting acronyms that we're also going to be renaming, but essentially right now it's the multi-asset staking platform. It's the centralized exchange in its beta form.
Okay, cool.
And very shortly, you know, I don't want to do an announcement, but
please do. We love announcements in crypto. We thrive on them. Go on.
It's the DEX aggregator piece as well. So those are the three primary components.
Okay, awesome. Michael, is there anything else?
Yeah, most definitely. So, you know, continuing for what Sean said, you know, the DMAS dynamic multi-asset staking, this basically allows people to get additional yield for their assets. I really think the DeFi aggregator is super powerful because, you know, if you see how, for instance, people used to book flights, you know, used to go to a travel agent and then they trust the travel agent to give them the best, you know, deal or find the best, you know, rates. Effectively, you know, some people use Skyscanner or they use aggregators like Kayak or Booking.com, which look through all of the different ways, you know, people can, you know, book flights or make a trade. And, you know, we're pretty confident that, you know, the same way a project like Binance completely revolutionized the exchange space, you know, a lot of people are dipping their toes into DeFi. A lot of people are dipping their toes into decentralized exchanges. You know, we feel as if Unizen is well positioned to greatly accelerate that shift. You know, we're really confident that people will be using DeFi exchanges more than centralized exchanges moving forward. And we think that Unizen can really accelerate this shift and play a big role.
All right, cool. So when we talk about Unizen, there's also talk about CDeFi?
Yep.
CDeFi. So can we jump into that? Because in all honesty, I don't think I've heard this acronym before, this term before. So again, let's say I'm a newbie. I'm hearing about CDeFi. What exactly do I expect from CDeFi? What is this CDeFi? Like, hit me with it. Sell it to me.
Yeah, I'll take that one. You know, essentially, you know, this term is pretty new to the world of cryptocurrencies. So CDeFi is basically centralized, decentralized finance, right? It's the merger between both centralized and decentralized finance. So we're bringing the best functionalities basically of both systems and, you know, using CDeFi basically, or CDeFi or whatever we want to call it, you know, basically corporations can explore innovations, you know, in modern financial products while also, you know, meeting conventional financial regulatory standards at the same time. And, you know, I could go on and on about this one, but basically, you know, it encompasses the universe of DeFi, but also such as, you know, decentralized exchanges, liquidity aggregators, yield farming tools, lending protocols, and a lot more. You know, in this sense, we are acting as a first mover of sorts by bringing CDeFi to crypto financial service markets, and we're also using our own Unizen architecture to allow for the deployment of multiple, you know, unique smart contracts and multi-chain products and services on a single platform, while also, you know, ensuring quicker transactions and lowering risks at the same time. So I wrote an article on this on CoinMarketCap that I could drop in a link if that's useful as well. But I can keep going. But
say whatever you need to say. I'm all ears. That's what we're here for. So
yeah,
please do.
So yeah, I guess essentially, you know, just to continue on with this one, you know, using the CDeFi approach, Unizen allows traders to search and filter the best opportunities, you know, using liquidity depth, transaction fees, network fees, KYC stipulations and withdrawal fees, and that leads to lower slippage, higher asset availability, and better security at the same time. So we, you know, CDeFi basically also addresses, you know, growing concerns concerning regulation, concerning compliance relative to cryptocurrencies right now. the merger of the two basically paves the way for custodianship of DeFi protocols as well. So I suppose with this one, I'll drop more. But if you search Sadefi CoinMarketCap, there's an article on there as well.
Okay, cool. So,
and touching on continue on this,
yep.
If you look at the centralized finance space, platforms like Coinbase, Binance, Huobi, OKX, all of these big companies, people totally underestimated them, 5 years ago. And then now they are the biggest, most used technologies in this sphere. People did the same for DeFi. They looked at something like Uniswap, they look at something like Aave, and they were like, hey, is this, decentralized DeFi, platform going to take off? Where Unizen sits, it kind of looks at these two and it goes, hey, why are these two, technologies in conflict and opposition of each other? And how can we sort of bridge the two and allow, 1 + 1 to be 3? How can we get both of these sides to work together and create something much bigger?
As you were describing it, it sounded to me like I use a couple of different streaming softwares, for example, and one has benefits that the other one doesn't have, and the other one has benefits that the other one doesn't have. And I like to use both those benefits. For example, if I was to do an OBS stream, I can only single stream, but if I use a different program, I can multi-stream. So it sounds like you're basically bringing things together, centralized and decentralized. Is that the right interpretation here? And you're creating a one-stop shop, basically?
100%.
Okay, cool.
Most definitely. And also you can think, someone like yourself is able to use OBS, because you're an expert, you're a professional. Though a lot of people might go like, what's OBS? How do I learn to use it? They download it and they're like, oh my gosh, it's too complicated. And we're trying to figure a way where, hey, all of these people who want to get into DeFi, all of the people who are experienced with, using CeFi, how can they, use both and benefit from both sides and not necessarily choose one because they know it better or it's, more user friendly. But, a lot of people use crypto because they just really want to solve their problems or get the best rates. And, Unizen is well positioned to serve that.
So is Unizen live or currently under development at the moment? Is the platform itself live or?
Yeah. I mean, it is live for dynamic multi-asset staking with the native asset. If you go to the unizen.io and click ecosystem, you can directly interact with the earn module. Basically, the centralized trading module is also live, but in beta form. But the DEX aggregator, which we're quite excited about, will go live this month. But basically, that's going to be the primary use case of Unizen going forward and building on that.
Speaking of which, how would you describe the Unizen architecture?
I'll take that one as well. Basically, our architecture is built into basically microservices, I guess, is the way I'd put it. So they're deployed in a managed Kubernetes cluster in AWS, and basically we're hiding away all our complex data operations in our custom API that auto scales the cluster with new microservices, basically in accordance with the rate of requests, and then all backend interactions and contract interactions are basically being managed through the front end code base. So that's also residing, as a container within that cluster. And our entire infrastructure and code base has been audited, of course, and we're not only limiting ourselves to smart contracts when it comes to assuring top tier security for our users in that sense.
Okay, Michael.
Yeah. Definitely. So if you think about something like the iPhone, it introduced the App Store where people could build different components. You can think of Unizen as that same operating system. The same, you've got Windows, you've got Mac, and you've got all of these people building components and applications into this powerful interconnected ecosystem. You can think of Unizen as this same sort of ecosystem where people can build different modules and components, and it all interacts directly and indirectly with one another. Most platforms, ecosystems, technology, you look at whether it's exchanges or DeFi tooling, you look at crypto platforms, they sit very insular, and they don't connect or allow people to build on top of one another. The way Unizen is built is such that anyone can plug in tools, and the ecosystem, the community can build specific components into this wider operating system. So you can think of Unizen less of an application, less of a platform, and more like an app store, where people can build these different modules and they can fit together with one another or solve specific needs separately.
So it really is a one-stop shop for everything crypto, basically. It's all in one, everything in one, by the sounds of it.
Most definitely, and you could even say beyond that, because a lot of people, they don't care about crypto. A lot of people don't even understand what DeFi is. They don't understand what coins, tokens. They're very used to it as traditional everyday life. We're really excited for people to build specific modules which solve needs which solves their problems. So we feel as if Unizen can really be the catalyst to get a lot of the 7 billion people into this industry. We look at the industry now as being 1 trillion being tiny, and we're excited for where it goes to 100 trillion, 500 trillion, and completely revolutionizes entire industries. The same way people wrote off the internet, they wrote off mobile. We see the same shift happening. We see the biggest companies, projects, technologies in the world being in this industry. The same way people sort of underestimated the internet. You see the likes of Facebook, Instagram, Google, Amazon as being the biggest companies in the world now. We see our industry superseding that.
So your target market then is not just the crypto people, but the non-crypto people, judging by what you just said now. Is that right?
Most 100%. Definitely, a combination of the two. We kind of see the crypto digital asset ecosystem as being a really good group of people who can beta test and who can experiment with it. But we see much bigger opportunity outside the crypto sphere, and we're excited to greatly expand this market. Also people looked at platforms, say like Binance, which launched in 2017, as being entering a space of exchanges which are too crowded. And then we see the same sort of shift where a lot of people are looking at DeFi as being very crowded and competitive, and we see that we can expand and grow this space. And then the biggest platforms in the world now are things like Huobi, Binance, OKX, FTX, Coinbase. We see DeFi as being multiples bigger than the centralized exchanges and CeFi space.
Oh, definitely. And I do believe, in my unprofessional and irrelevant opinion, that it is the future. And a lot of people in the mainstream who aren't involved in crypto or who have never spent a single cent on crypto, if they only heard what you can do in DeFi, they'll be jumping all over it. So it's really up to us to try push that message out to the rest of the world. And perhaps with Unizen, we can make that happen even more so. So that's really exciting, because I've interviewed a lot of companies, maybe over 70 or 80 crypto brands, and everyone keeps talking about mass adoption. But for the first time here tonight, I've heard you say the crypto people and the non-crypto people, the crypto clients and the potential non-crypto clients. Everybody talks about mass adoption, but they never say the other side. So it's really refreshing to hear that here tonight coming from you guys, because usually when crypto brands say, oh, we're looking at mass adoption, they're really trying to mass adopt crypto people again from other projects to theirs. But here you are telling us it's not just about getting crypto people involved, but also the real world, which is very refreshing. Very refreshing. I like that. I like that a lot. So that's a big statement to make, and you guys sound very ambitious, and your project sounds very ambitious too. But can you describe the unique selling points of your products that give you an edge against other competitors?
Yeah. I'll take that as well. I think as far as the first one, our true cross-chain DEX aggregator basically allows users to acquire assets seamlessly across any network and receive said assets at the user selected network. So this is all in a single action. The user can also rest assured that they're going to get the maximum returns from that trade. As we allow them to interact with multiple liquidity pools across multiple chains to get the best quote at a specific trade. So,
so you're talking about arbitrage there?
So not arbitrage per se, but it basically obviously we're going to be releasing this this month, but it's basically a cross-chain DEX aggregator. So think of 1inch, but also cross-chain, and being able to do this in a single action as well. So essentially, we do, again, we have a roadmap item to also integrate centralized aggregation as well, as part of the same user interface, to build on that and effectively exposing a single user interface to find the best trade across hundreds of centralized and decentralized liquidity pools for the entire Web3 space.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, essentially, by exposing third-party Web3 applications right on top of our own operating system, we're providing, the necessary tooling to enable seamless interaction. So for example, like consider this, like you've added USDT, ZCX liquidity to Curve Finance on Ethereum, but now you wish instead to add BNB BUSD liquidity on Pancake Swap on Binance Smart Chain. Basically, this would require a user to unprovision, navigate to an exchange of their choice and convert the assets to BNB and BUSD. But these funds also need to be bridged over to Binance Smart Chain and eventually added to the liquidity pool on Pancake Swap. So on Unizen, it's just a single user action. So we're really
I like that.
upping that simplicity to the utmost. And basically, they would remove liquidity from Curve Finance, provision whatever asset they want into the liquidity pool on a DEX, no matter what the asset, and the chain that the DEX contracts are located on. So
I love it. That would make so many people's lives so much easier. That's
so, on the back end, we're basically making sure that they get the assets for the best price possible, and also taking care, of the bridging, of the assets and the liquidity provisioning in the same transaction. So without them putting themselves at risk, of phishing attacks by navigating to multiple websites, what have you as well.
I'm really surprised that not many, I don't even know of any projects really that make it in a single action so easy. And especially for the new people who are coming on board and they want to get into this kind of thing, and they're like, they hear about it and they're like, nah, I couldn't do that. It's too complicated for me, too sophisticated. But then I can just say, hey, go to Unizen, and in a single action, you can get the job done that you want done. So that's pretty awesome. Michael, has he missed anything here? Or because I'm getting really excited here.
No, fully spot on. The same way, people struggled to navigate the internet. They got their first smartphone, and they didn't really understand, how it all works until, people built really simple things like Uber, where you press a button, a taxi arrives, or you type something in on Google and then you get a list of all popular websites. We see Unizen as being this same catalyst, where a lot of people look at crypto and they're like, okay, I can buy some coins, but, I don't know what else I can do with it. Or, if I want to exchange between coins, it's too complicated, or they're paying rates which are significantly higher. They have no clue what an order book is. They have no idea how to place a buy order or a sell order. All of it is so complicated. We are working on making that super seamless, where a lot of stuff happens behind the scenes, which is, what people who are experts in this space do. But, we make it simple and seamless and straightforward to the everyday person. Nice.
Is there any other differences that gives you an edge when it comes to other competitors in the space, or is there more to be revealed over time?
Yeah, much more to be revealed, of course. But just to build on that, our presentation layer and customizable dashboards basically give traders, and Web3 users really unique insights, across Web3 innovations, blockchain networks, and literally thousands of digital assets. So just putting that all accessible to everyone is something we're quite excited about.
Nice.
Most definitely, so the best rates, simple, easy to use interface. Also, as mentioned earlier, the many modules that can be built on top of it. So, if you think about something like Skyscanner, or Booking.com, it's got a very singular function. All you can do basically is book flights and hotels, right? You look at something like Google, though, it's a search engine, but, they've added maps, they've added, email, they've added, flight search, they've added, hundreds and hundreds image search, lots of different applications and modules. You can think of Unizen as really a similar sort of platform similar to Google, where its core competency is, working with digital assets, tokenization, coins, and then there's so much more that can be plugged in and added beyond that. So, what we're really excited for is in the short term, people using this core functionality, and in the medium and longer term, building things on top of this, which, solves everyday problems and really bridges the many, applications and uses for this industry and technology.
I really like the way you guys talk about this, about Unizen, because the more I hear you guys talking about it, I feel like I'm in the Dragon's Den or the Shark Tank, or watching the Dragon's Den and Shark Tank, because these are the types of things we hear on shows like that, and I don't come across that very often, with all due respect to other brands. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the Dragon's Den, and I'm feeling like right now I'm listening to it, which is really, really cool. This is a project that I could visualize or envision on something like the Dragon's Den, because it is that worthy of being pitched to VCs like that. But really, really cool. So could you tell us about some of the recent milestones your team has achieved so far and what's next?
Absolutely. Yeah. Just on the technical front, we're just now wrapping up, the first iteration of our cross-chain enabled DEX aggregator and preparing that, for its production release. Our trade aggregation algorithm basically checks liquidity pools across 36 DEXs right now on 7 blockchains.
Oh, wow.
For the most cost trade, and we're expecting this number to actually grow significantly. So we've also onboarded a plethora of data providers, to enhance our presentation capabilities and to help make traders more able to make more informed decisions on which assets to acquire and when. We've also built 5 new module integrations with some of the top DEXs and staking platforms out there, and we're also laying the framework to access what we're calling the Web3 tsunami on a variety of fronts. So we're planning on a couple of AMAs this month, so we'll save a bit more on this for later, if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem. So you mentioned module integrations in DEXs. Would the same apply with SEXs? That sounds bad, doesn't it? Centralized exchanges as well? Because I was actually thinking that just before you mentioned the DEX part. Because I don't see why this shouldn't be integrated in centralized exchanges. It's got the
100%.
potential.
So we do have centralized. The way that we look at the trade aggregation is that we have centralized plus decentralized. So we're already our first centralized module is on Binance, their infrastructure and their shared liquidity. Yeah. So most definitely we'll have more centralized apps being built as well.
Okay, nice. Michael, anything you wish to add?
Definitely, and touching on this, a lot of super experienced traders and finance people, they can access, lots of different exchanges. They can move capital across different exchanges, and they're able to get the best rates. But the everyday person who doesn't have that same opportunity, so they're paying higher fees. They're not having the same access to information. Unizen is really focused on democratizing that. Providing that same powerful tools and access to the everyday person. And in terms of milestones coming up, we've basically laid up a very comprehensive marketing, sales, product strategy for the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years, and we're working on fulfilling each of these. We are being very mindful of what we're releasing and sharing to our wider community, just because we want to make sure to reach those goals. And we kind of see this as a marathon. So instead of a lot of projects which kind of think of it as a quick sprint and let's go big and see what happens in as soon as possible. It doesn't matter what happens later. We don't want to be the first, but we want to be the last to remain. So we see this industry as really just scratching the surface of what's possible, and we want to make sure that in the coming months and years that we play a big role in this future.
So Unizen is not just here for a good time, but here for a long time as well, basically.
Yeah, well said.
There you go. There you go. So is Unizen getting interest from a fundraising point of view, and how are key players in the industry looking at this project?
Yeah, I mean, as we said before, various large strategic, funds are looking to take some stake, and basically, the details of these arrangements, are going to be shared directly with the community once they're ready. Michael, maybe you want to comment more on this, or?
Most definitely. So, we have a sales team which looks at all the biggest, crypto funds, high net worth individuals, organizations, groups in this space and outside this space. You mentioned VCs like, or angel investors like those on Dragon's Den. There's a lot of VCs and funds outside of crypto. The amount of, funds that tap into crypto at the moment represent a very small, minuscule piece of the wider, greater financing ecosystem.
Yeah.
We're taking a very data-driven approach and working through lists of funds and financiers and working on having them get some exposure to Unizen as well as this industry. And, we really see lots of future and opportunity there. We're excited to announce some partners and funds which are backing and supporting us in the coming weeks and months. And, we will do this more regularly on a continual basis. So we are building up our sales and fundraising team, and we're taking a very organized approach to it. Up to this point, we've kind of been in the R&D and sort of development phase, and we're really excited to move to the growth and scaling phase ahead.
So it's all happening. It sounds like you guys don't sleep.
Yeah, we're working hard, and we're really excited, for this opportunity, and we see a big, bright future ahead.
Yeah. So, having said that, you said that you want Unizen to move beyond the crypto and tap into the bigger markets. So, could you be a bit more specific and elaborate on that?
Yeah, definitely. So, as we said previously as well, the digital asset industry is huge, and crypto is only a tiny piece of this. And, with digital securities basically being poised itself to be a $27 trillion industry,
I'll be worried if it was 27.
Yeah. Yeah. But basically, add the fact to that enterprises and financial institutions themselves are also going to be working on their own currencies. The future of digital asset exchanges is just extremely bright. So, Unizen is really gearing up to be a key part of this by aligning with projects and partners with similar objectives to this. So, we're quite sensitive of NDAs that we've directly signed, obviously,
Definitely, yeah.
to a degree, but just to give an example, of what we're doing, we met with partner this week, that themselves is able to integrate with banks like DBS and JP Morgan,
Wow.
and exploring how we can work with them within Unizen, basically to basically help the next wave, move beyond Swift, and essentially, these are the type of partners we're aligning with to make sure that this industry becomes suitable, for big institutions and to take crypto as a whole to the next level.
Nice. Sounds like some big things are really happening in the background. Michael, could you tell us more?
Most definitely. So as Sean mentioned, so much is happening in the back burner, and alongside, we are preparing, for the next surge in our industry, and taking a very careful and strategic approach around it. As Sean mentioned earlier, this industry is barely getting started. People think it's gone, leaps and bounds, but the way we look at it, it's really just getting going. If you look at the amount of users of exchanges, people who hold digital assets, how much they hold relative to the entire portfolio, whether it's real estate or stocks, we see digital assets as superseding and being bigger than all of that put together. And we see lots of capital and value flowing from assets like real estate into our industry. And what we're focused on is making sure that we are well positioned for that shift. And if you look at the amount of people or the type of person that is in our industry at the moment, and you look at the everyday person in the world, someone in a small village or suburb or town, a lot of them have no clue about how things like Bitcoin operate or digital assets or exchanges. They've absolutely no clue. And we see a big opportunity in making it really simple and seamless for the everyday person, and bringing on board the tens of millions and billions of people into our industry.
So if I wanted to start using the platform today after this live stream, I'll go to the website. And what am I looking for exactly? Is it an app I download? Is it a website, like a Explorer plugin? Is it just an online thing? What exactly do I need to do to get started?
It's super simple. Just go to www.unizen.io and click on the ecosystem button. It's bright green. You can't miss it. And then you'll need another wallet such as MetaMask, and you'll have to add Polygon at the moment, to interact with the DMOS application. But obviously, just a MetaMask and a browser on your phone or computer.
Okay, so I download MetaMask, I integrate Polygon, and then I can connect to your platform. And
correct.
I can start exploring from there and have a play with things.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, awesome. I think that just about covers everything for this evening. But before we go, is there anything else you gentlemen wish to elaborate further on while we're here?
No, I think we covered it really well, and I really appreciate, Darko, how you've managed to take all of these, ideas and all of the hard work that we're doing, and really crystallize it and share in a way which people can really grasp and understand. We're working on making it such that people who use Unizen and engage with this technology do so in a seamless way. And we also view this industry as being a core piece of how everyday life and everyday business operates. We see a future where tokens and digital assets play a critical role in everyday society, and we think that Unizen can help with this.
Definitely. And to everybody watching, it was unizen.io, is that correct?
Correct.
And is that where we can also find your socials, Telegram, Twitter?
Unizen _.io. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. So feel free to check out the website. Feel free to check out the Telegram community and Twitter, and say hello. Tell them Darko sent you, and maybe even give them a little bit of a hard time just to tease them a little bit. Why not? And it's been really awesome. It's been quite educational and informative for me as well, because I'm also new to this, and I find this really exciting, and looking forward to digging further into the website after we finish this live stream as well. Like, I'm legitimately really interested. So it sounds really, really cool. And as I mentioned earlier tonight, I really like and appreciate how you guys came here and said we're looking at mass adoption, but our target market is also the mainstream. So it's not just mass adoption and you ended it there. You're going beyond the crypto space, which again are no one really says that in this space. Everybody in this space says, oh, we want mass adoption, but they just think crypto. They don't think further outside the box. So it sounds like Unizen is offering and will be offering and will continue to offer a easy, seamless user experience with onboarding people in the know and people who are not so much in the know. And that's really what we need. That's the bridge right there. So, and as you guys mentioned, there's 7 billion people on this planet. If we can even get just 1% of those to use the platform, that's a huge success already. So really interested in seeing more, and I was really hoping for an announcement of an announcement, but maybe next time. The crypto people love announcements of announcements. But it was an honor and pleasure meeting you guys tonight, and I thank you so much for coming on board. And also thank you to everybody who is watching in the official Huobi Global Live app on Facebook Live and on YouTube. Please follow the Huobi socials, Twitter and Telegram, as well as the Unizen socials on Twitter and Telegram. So far, we've had just over 15,000 people watching and 294,000 likes, and the live chat box is pumping. So thank you to everybody who's participating in the official Huobi Global app as well. All right, so without further ado, I bid you all farewell. Until next time, please be safe, be healthy, trade-wise, and as always, rock on.
Hi, Darko.